Hi everybody, welcome back. It's Ellie here again today, and today we are doing the Municipal Muses Museum lot in the Willow Creek world. I usually like to do a community lot after I finished one of the neighbourhood sections in a world, and today I decided to bite the bullet and do the museum because, to be honest, it was something I was dreading. I don't know why I was dreading it. It did turn out to be a pretty easy build, as you can tell from the length. I've spent longer on houses than I have on this museum. As usual, this is base game only with no custom content, so please sit back, relax, and enjoy the build. Okay, so I might have told a small fib about it not being a difficult build. I was determined to have that glass dome on the ceiling, and I really wanted it, but it really didn't want to go in. There are several times I had to go back and fix it because I tried putting the half wall up to make a little ledge for the roof, and it just kept disappearing the hole that was allowing the light to go through to the inside of the museum, and I had to keep fiddling with it to put the hole back under the dome. I ended up cutting out about 15 minutes worth of footage of me trying to fix that hole, but in the end I did get it to work and I was really happy with how it turned out. So that half trim on the wall there was what made me decide to do a black and white build. I know I was aiming for modern anyway, and I have just done a modern build, I know, but I really like the type of art museums that are open and airy, and I believe that you would need a lot of light coming through in large windows to be able to appreciate the art more. That's just my experience of being in art museums, though sometimes you can have absolutely grand buildings where the museum is hosting that art. Sometimes they are a little dark and the lighting just isn't good enough, so I thought what I did here was quite good and I really liked it. I put the smaller versions of the windows up on the second floor because it was a smaller wall height, and I did put the smaller windows in the bathroom there, and I enjoyed how I did the door windows as well. I just made it like a nice grand entrance and I really liked that too. Now what I'm doing is I'm just popping the white plaster wallpaper on the outside of the build, and then I accent that little sticky out bit with some dark panels, and I thought that looked really nice, as well as the shady overhangs and the front path of the museum. Starting off with the exterior, I used the stone aggregate again, which I used in my last build, which I thought was really nice, hence why I'm using it again, and I may just continue to use it in future builds. And as usual, you'll have to pry that fence from my cold dead hands before I stop using it as a border. It's just so lovely and perfect for it. I also put in the ornamental plants again, as well as a front sign for the museum. I know it's meant to be a quote-unquote corporate thing, but I really liked it. I also popped some benches in the front, and I really liked how I decorated with the grass this time around. I put in some of those topiary bushes and the shaped bushes as well, and I thought that just looked really fun. For the back of the museum, I used the same pathing in the front and I had it connect to the wider world. I like the idea that anyone can access the museum from anywhere they're going, you know, there's no fee to look in there, as it should be with museums and educational establishments in my opinion. I just popped a couple of picnic benches out there for people to have their lunch if they were out for the day, and 2 fountains there that I really liked. I had a little browse through some of the other stuff, but in the end I didn't feel there was anything else I could add here, but then I just pop in the lighting outside and I later go around with the terrain paint as usual just to give the place a bit of depth. I don't know why, but this time around I didn't do the flooring when I did the wallpaper. I went through a couple of options. I really wanted it to be like a tile flooring, but in the end I just ended up with some classic laminate flooring. I went through a few light options. I was hoping that the industrial looking ones would be spotlights, but they weren't. So in the end I just settled with the extremely subtle saucer lamps and I thought that was fine enough. For the public bathrooms, I just went with 4 separate restrooms. They've each got their own toilet, sink and towel in there. I almost didn't do that. I almost used the prefab constructions, but then I thought, nah, I'll do the actual bathrooms in there, and I really liked how they turned out. I liked that they were all the same. They were all just mirror imaging one another, and you know what? If they ask why they all look the same, we can say it's an art project. It's not laziness, it's an art project. It's a social experiment, I swear. No, it was just me having a bit of fun by making them the exact same thing. I just thought that was a little bit cheeky. To fill the sculpture requisition, I didn't realise that 3 out of 5 of them I'd already done with the fountains and the big sign outside. I was looking for a giant sculpture, but then remembered that's in an expansion pack, so we couldn't use that. So instead I went for the Princess Cordelia bust. I ended up roping her off as well, which I thought was actually kind of funny, as it's the only restricted item in the museum, and it's even viewable from the section up above as well, in case it gets too busy viewing the beloved Princess Cordelia. Next up was the easel requisition, so I just popped them in those little alcoves there, and that's what the blank walls are for up there, so you can display your art. In terms of the actual wall art, there was a theme, believe it or not, so those are schematics. The first one was just red in the type of theme, and then we go for a bit more abstract, and on the other side of that we have that jazzy man who's in all of those pictures, and I never usually have an occasion to use those, so I was happy to use the jazzy man in this occasion, and I thought it looked really nice, and I liked that they had themes on the walls. And now just to finish off, I am popping some seating down. Your feet are going to be tired being in a museum all day. And what I also do with that outside balcony area is I put a woodworking bench and also a bonsai tree. I also put a little accent table down with photography, a digital art pad, and I just thought it was important to put other creative skills in the museum as well as just the art. And that's the build complete. It comes in at just over 81,000 simoleons and is called the Magnificent Muse on the gallery. Thank you so much for watching today, guys. I really do appreciate the time you take to watch these videos. You're always fantastic for doing so. If you'd like to like and subscribe, that would be absolutely amazing. But if not, I hope you have a wonderful day and enjoy the free cam view.